And it's lights out, and here we go. Welcome to the part two of the first episode of Worldwide F1. It's your host Matt back again, and I'm joined by a wonderful panel guests. Starting with the main man, Worldwide Chelsea. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I can hear some background noise. I'm not sure from who from, but unfortunately, our first channel was taken away. We didn't appeal against it, like Hamilton and the jury. But we're here, back again. Decent qualifying session. I think there's going to be a few angry opinions on certain cars, but I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it was very interesting. A lot of twists and turns. Interesting, a mixed bag, I think, for all of us. Whatever team you support, but it was a very interesting, and we'll get into it in a minute. I'm also joined by the wonderful Wayne Moulds. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Matt. Good to see you. Good to see Steak, and hopefully everyone can enjoy this second coming of the Worldwide Formula 1. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I've said to you guys, especially you, Matt, I've loved this Grand Prix circuit already, so I can't wait to get into it and have a bit of talk because I think tomorrow's going to be really interesting for so many reasons.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race. I think with a number of when it's a new track, you get a number of mistakes as we've seen in practice. I'm actually surprised no one went off in qualifying. That was one of the things I was surprised with. But I'm sure we'll see a number of incidents within the race. So yeah, let's get into it straight away. Obviously, Charles Leclerc taking pole away from Verstappen and Sainz in the end. Sainz finishing second and Max Verstappen in third after what seemed to be, I assume, he pulled out of a lap because at first it looked like he almost stopped and he was going to stop and break down. But I think it was just more mistake than more than anything.
It was the oversteer where Russell had the oversteer in the back end. He got it there and he went wide and he had to cut the lap out.
That's fair enough. I was celebrating a little bit because I thought, if Max has got another problem after his gearbox.
No, he stopped because he wasn't sure whether he had to go into the pits or not.
Oh, okay.
For the celebration, not celebration, but for like the first, second, third that stay outside and to go into pits.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I thought after the gearbox breaking in practice 1, then him having that problem in practice 2, as soon as he come out, I thought if something else goes wrong and then it's messed up again, it'd be just happy days for all of us. But yeah, I mean, Wayne, what did you think of Ferrari overall and specifically Leclerc in this qualifying?
To be honest, it surprised me because through the weekend so far, I thought Red Bull and Mercedes had the upper hand. I thought them two had the upper hand over Ferraris, but Leclerc's been like I've seen all season. He's very when it comes to the qualifying the race, he just goes to another level, another gear again, and they've got the car to suit him this time. I think I said this to you as well with Sainz. He needed a good performance. He was really under pressure with the new contract, how many times he was going out, hitting the walls, making mistakes. And then he made that mistake. Is it free practice 2 or 1? I think it was at set 2, free practice 2. Sainz made the mistake.
Yes, Sainz, free practice 2.
And I thought, here we go. He's getting another weekend. He's gonna foul and then get the second. Yeah, it was really good to see. Good to see it on a personal level because I do think he's a good driver. But it's I think Ferrari on a lap. Yes, they're quick, but I don't think they've got the overall speed. So for the whole race, so it'd be interesting.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, Sadiq, obviously, Wayne was a bit surprised with obviously the lack of pace that they had in the practice. Was you surprised, or is it typical Ferrari this season? They look up and above the rest.
It's like Mercedes, where in the last couple of years you'd think, they don't have the pace, and then they suddenly just turn up with it. That's what Ferrari are doing this season, basically. But the motive, man. As long as Max Verstappen doesn't win, we're happy to see whoever wins, whether it's Sainz or Perez or Leclerc or actually maybe not McLaren either, but you know what I mean. As long as it's not Max Verstappen mainly, um, that's the most important thing. Good track. For me, it's the first time I've seen it properly. I've not been following it from practice and beforehand, so it's good to see. I do expect some mistakes in the race tomorrow. I think that corner where Verstappen, I think, just skinned it yesterday. I think it was, or was it today? I think it was yesterday. I'm sure it was yesterday. But he managed just to keep it on. I think there's going to be a few crashes down there, personally. But overall, good track. Looking forward to it, and some interesting sessions today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think McLaren are not going to challenge for the title. We'll say that at the least. But we won't bully them too much till we get to it with Wayne more specifically. But yeah, I think Ferrari, they look good. They've looked good wherever they go. But they don't. I don't know whether their race pace is as good as you said. So it'll be interesting. I think with the Miami track, it looks good. I'm just a bit worried how much overtaking is there going to be, because it's at certain points it looks very tight. I don't know. I'm looking at the corners. There's some corners I think it's going to be quite hard to overtake in. So I hope it's not going to be one of them races where everyone's just following each other around too much. But we'll wait and see what it's like tomorrow, because you can never know what you're going to expect in a Formula One race, and it's the beauty of the sport. Guys, we've got a few people tuning in. Make sure you like the video so it can get out to more people. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Sadiq, obviously going into Q1, not really too many surprises coming out. What did you think of the people who went out of Q1?
I think Q1 was okay. I don't think there were any major surprises. Vettel went out Q2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Q1 was okay. I don't think there was anything surprising. Wayne, you disagree with that?
No, I'm just trying to work out who went out.
Yeah,
That's
obviously Ocon didn't come on at all
the
because it was
crash
crashed.
and free practice free. He couldn't
Yeah, so
fix it in time.
so it was Latifi,
Magnussen,
Albon, Grover
Latifi,
and Magnussen. Oh, that
Latifi.
is something I wanted to speak about. Obviously, coming to the end of Q1, it's the typical everyone's slowing down at the last few corners, trying
Yeah.
to get some space, and it seemed to affect a certain drive. Obviously, Guo Yu was on a flying lap, and just as he got round there is no chance of him getting past any of them drivers, and it probably, if he could have had a chance to get an out and didn't. Wayne, what do you think about that? Is there something Formula One need to do to try and stop that? Because for me, I think that's very unfair on Guo Yu. I don't think he can actually get out of the way of any of them cars because there's too many of them.
No, I think you're right, but I think in this circumstances, whether it's a new Grand Prix circuit and it was the first part of the qualifying, I think you can understand why it was like that, because everyone's obviously new to it, try and get room, don't know how much, when to come out, when is the best time to come out and that. But I think for future references, when this circuit comes, I will have to say, look, this is not going to happen. If this happens, I'm going to do poundings and everything like that they have done in other circuits. Because you remember I can't remember how long ago it was, but Monza, where literally we was fighting to try and not to go through on the qualifying, and they literally was going over each other to the point where it got so ridiculous that they literally said, it's got to stop. I think they can do it again, but I think I think the circuit, because it's brand new, and I think the certain point in that they're trying to get enough, because it's not a straight one, is it? It's like a curve to go through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's more of a try and get enough back from that curve to get the momentum. But no, I don't think it's a major problem right now. But I think it's something they can look into.
Yeah, I mean, Sadiq, obviously I understand where Wayne's coming from in terms of it's a new circuit. Drivers don't necessarily know how to approach warming up, getting space, etc. But it's not the first time. It seems to happen. It's been happening at nearly every race now, and sometimes I haven't felt it's really been dealt with properly, apart from a few rare occasions. So do you think this is something the FIA really need to start clamping down, because there's going to be a point where there is going to be a serious accident, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's always whichever sport is, we always react. We're always reactive to certain situations. We're never proactive. It is something that we definitely do need to fix up. I don't know why we always have to wait towards the end of the session for everyone to do the flying lap. Is it because the track gets warmer that they get more speed, I think, or something?
I think it's more that they want to get to the line at the last possible second.
Why though?
I
think it's the temperature. I think it's the temperature because when everyone does a hot lap and then they wait in the pits, like Russell, he just obviously he didn't improve, but then everyone below him just improved massively towards the end. Like they literally destroyed the lap.
I think it's obviously, if the track's getting better, obviously they want to go as late as possible, and then obviously once one person starts slowing down, it comes a concertina effect where everyone starts to slow down, and then they almost go one by one eventually. But it's starting to get a little bit over the top. You used to get it occasionally back in the day, but it's recently it's just really started to change and get a bit worse. And I think, again, as I said, there's not really been a major accident from it yet. There's been a couple of knocks and stuff like that, but there's going to get to a point where someone's really going to go into the back of another person, especially at tracks like Jeddah, where it's a bit more. It's not exactly the nicest track in terms of crashes as it is, and there's other tracks that are quite like that. Obviously, there's tracks like Monaco. It's not really going to make a difference to, but other tracks where there's quite a fast corner coming out, you're gonna get in trouble. So hopefully, it's something that can change. But obviously, Q1, as we said, not really too much of an issue. I think everyone was generally okay. I think Hamilton obviously was struggling to get a lap together, was nearly something that was going to go out. Steve, was you worried at any point, or did you think Hamilton was eventually going to get a lap together?
Yeah, I mean, look, in the past, we've seen past qualifying has been very, very difficult for Mercedes. We had a lot of hype around the media that it's going to be a freeway for the pole. I think that was a massive, massive overstatement from Sky F1. For me, and I believe for you as well, it's just about closing the gap and making sure we're on that third row and maybe, try and fight for that fourth place position. That was where we should be. But as you know, Bottas, Norris, these guys have, a bit of pace this year. They put a lot of pressure on us this year. But I think, I really think it's the track. The track's benefiting us, definitely. I think when we go to whatever track is next, from what I read was about we didn't need as much downforce for this track. So that benefits Mercedes right now, and especially we changed the wing. Unless I'm wrong, I think we changed the front wing. So yeah, I wasn't surprised, but we've got to be careful for the next few races, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously you got to take it race by race and see what's happening. Don't go into too many judged opinions. Wayne, obviously, as a McLaren fan, you're a little bit less invested into Hamilton compared to me and Sadiq. Was you worried, or did you think Hamilton was?
I tell you, I was worried for Hamilton because he looked like he weren't getting it. I looked like the back end was always playing up for him, so he weren't getting a full lap in. But I think it weren't just Mercedes I was worried about from Hamilton. I was actually worried for McLaren because Lando Norris and Ricciardo looked like they couldn't get it together in themselves. What surprised me a lot. But
what did Ricciardo do?
I don't.
Because Norris went straight to like P3 or something. I think it was.
And he was on a flyer.
Ricciardo, like, what's going on?
And he was on after the first two sections. It looked like he would be all right. Just that last one, hook it up, and he would have got in the top 10, and that would have done me. But he just lost time, and he's really getting to me at the moment. As a McLaren fan, I've got a lot of respect for Ricardo because he's a great driver, and I'm not going to slag him off as a driver. But at the moment, he's just not hitting it with Norris. He's not. You got, for example, Norris just keeps on in that top 10, or he's up there making headway, and you got Ricardo who's just not doing it. He's in the back or he's in the middle. He's not hitting it. He's been a couple of races. He's done it. He won the Italian Grand Prix. I was really happy for him. But we've got drivers in the mist that I'd rather keep. Like we've got Patty O'Ward, for example, who raced in IndyCar. I want him to come over and play with Lando Norris as a team. Because I think that would be an excellent team. And there's other drivers I could easily replace Ricardo in my head already. I can go, yep, that one. But we're just at the moment, he just needs to buck his ideas up because in the season we've got enough people to come in and place him.
Yeah, I think he's had enough. He's almost had enough time now to get involved and adapt to the car, and it just seems like he's not. He is a step below Norris all the time, and now at times it's 2 or 3, 4, or even 5 steps below at the moment. It's almost like he's driving around at second gear. Obviously, he did take 15th place, which is not, frankly, it's not good enough. I know we're at that time, as Mercedes fans have known, you can finish 6th to 15th very quickly because it's so close within the timings at the moment. But I don't think that's still an excuse for Ricciardo finishing 15th, and he could have gone out in Q1, as you did say. And when you see Norris pulling out a 3rd place out of nowhere, I think that was the best you could possibly get out of the car. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think Norris obviously couldn't reproduce that in Q3, but Ricciardo's got to be doing better than that. And if he doesn't improve by the end of the season, I think McLaren are going to look at someone else eventually. They're not going to. Ricciardo being a nice guy is not going to keep him in his seat.
Do you guys know who I'm on about when I say Patty O'Ward?
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you believe he's a good driver?
Yeah, he's a good driver. I don't know whether he'll ever go into F1, but he's a good driver.
So I think he because he's young, he's got Mexican as well, and he's got their money coming in that way. He's really driving for McLaren in IndyCar. So I think that would be a good switch. But the other one, if we want to go outboard and go for someone, there's one driver I would go for, and I think would do well in F1. Is Nick De Vries.
Yeah.
He's not been given a type from anyone. He's not been given a thing, but he's won the Formula E last year. He's doing well again this year.
Yeah, he didn't get a chance. Yeah, he didn't get a chance, surprisingly.
Yeah, and he's Mercedes reserve driver with Gutierrez, isn't it?
Yeah, Gutierrez, yeah.
I mean, there's other F2 drivers as well that are doing very well. As we've mentioned in the stream, that is disappeared now. That people like Callum Eilert, who, yes, they're more linked to Ferrari, but there is no currently there is no place in the Ferrari seat. So these people can be pushed over to the other side if there's a seat available, because of course they're gonna take an F1 seat if they can get it. Obviously, Q2 was, other than Ricciardo, again, largely usual, apart from one specific driver that I'll get Sadiq to talk about. Obviously, George Russell, Mr. Saturday. Not a very good Saturday for him, was it?
Yeah, it's tough because obviously he had a very, very good practice couple sessions. Looked very strong. Looked like he was gonna do well, and when he does better than Hamilton, a lot of people start to make the comparisons and cause drama. Obviously, based on luck at times where he got in front of Hamilton. It is what it is. Unfortunately, just wasn't his session. I can't remember what he said on the team radio, but he did look comfortable. This guy, what's that guy's name, man? The guy that does the analysis, not Paul De Resta, not Ted Kravitz. No, the guy on the TV, the one that does the TV. Yeah. I swear he was in like Jordan or something, and he came last place.
No, he's Force India.
Force India, that's
No,
it, yeah.
it was
And last place always.
Hispario F1. So
Sorry?
it weren't Force India. It's Hispario F1 he was driving for when it
No, no,
was
no,
in
no. He wasn't.
one
He was with Force
season.
India.
He never drove for Force India. Trust me.
I might check it. Let's prove Wayne wrong on the first ever stream of this channel. Yeah.
Look,
I don't think we're going to prove Wayne wrong on F1, but
Why?
you can try.
Wait, Force India.
It weren't Force India. It was Hispario
Oh
F.
wait, I'm getting confused with Cartagena, who used to be with Jordan. Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up with him. But yeah,
Nicholas
Force India.
Contino.
it was Hispania.
What's the Spaniard? I don't remember that car, bro. What's the Spaniard?
It was it was one that was red and white, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't
It was
that Force
rubbish.
India?
It was no Force India. No, it's not that.
No, they came in for one season with another team. As well, Catherine or whatever they called from
Yeah. I remember
UK.
that one. Yes. I remember that one. But what other team was he with then? He was there for quite a while, no?
No.
No. But anyway, he obviously done the analysis on his driving, George Russell, and he looked like he was struggling to even turn the car, bro. Like I don't know what happened, but he couldn't really
He was
turn
with
the car.
Lotus as well.
Sorry.
Lotus as well.
Yeah, I thought so. There was something else. But like I said, the steering, he struggled massively to turn. Like he just didn't feel comfortable. And what something about the bouncing. The bouncing is a problem as well. He's getting back pains and all this stuff.
I think last race he said that, but I think it was more he bounced off the curb and then that caused him to get into some wild understeer in the next corner. So I think it was it's that corner you get it wrong,
4,
you
5,
get
6.
up in the next 3, 4, 5 corners and you're losing bare time. So I think for me it was George just couldn't get a balance. I don't know whether it was the balance today wasn't right for him because it seemed to click for Hamilton today, but not him. And this is what I always talk about. Different drivers, they may have the same car balance, which works well for one driver, but may not work well for one other. And that's what happened. That's what I think happened with Hamilton before. And all these people going, "Oh, Hamilton's going to retire because he's rubbish. George Russell's come in and smashed him." Well, where are these people now? You're quiet on Twitter or whatever.
But you're talking about Russell. I think what was with Russell, he just couldn't control that back end in the qualifying. He was struggling. He wasn't like he was just struggling in qualifying 2. He was struggling in qualifying 1 to have a good lap like he was doing in pre-practice. I think it was just the back end on this, like I said, 4, 5, and 6. When he was driving it, literally the porpoising was happening, and then it just literally his back end was always going on sideways on him. So he was fighting. He was literally his hand movements. You would watch it. His hand movements he was like that all the time. He just couldn't, and it weren't. But it's not. I think it's like you've been saying. I've always rated Russell. I thought it's fine. I'm glad he's got his opportunity now. At the team, he's got it. But it's just overreaction. He's been consistent because he's been able to drive the car the right way because he's used to having a shit car.
Yeah, that's
not being
true.
novel.
Yeah. No, that's true. Definitely.
So he's found it more easier to cope with and not worry about it as much. But we're gonna. I just think it's too many reactionary.
Yeah, I think you do get a lot of people that are, especially with Hamilton, very reactionary. I think a lot of people while a lot of people love Lewis Hamilton, there's a lot of people that want Lewis Hamilton to fail. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they always like to see the person at the top fall. But it is what it is. You just have to take it with how it comes. Big up to NS Sports TV in the comments. Big up Nippin. What a great member of the Worldwide Chelsea channel. And maybe we'll convince him to be a big F1 fan as well. So big up to you. Make sure you smash the like button, Nippin.
Don't we see him enough?
Yeah, well, Nippin, the rule is if you're going to come on this channel, you have to be inside, in your house. None of this bus settings, unless you're driving in your car like Valtteri Bottas.
Fair enough.
Anyway, obviously, it was poor for George Russell, as we said. I think I actually thought the porcine wasn't so bad today. Obviously, it is a track that you're not really going too high speed, too much. It's more slower corners, so you don't have there's not really many opportunities where you will purpose because you haven't got the space or the time to do it. But it did look a bit better. So hopefully that is a sign that maybe it might improve, but we'll have to see it on multiple different tracks. Obviously, there was one other thing that happened in Q2 that caused a little bit of an argument between two drivers of the same nationality, Alonso and Sainz. Alonso accused Sainz of blocking him, which Alonso thinks he would have got into Q3 with. Obviously, he wanted some repercussions on Sainz. It was investigated, but nothing came of it. Wayne, what do you think of that? Do you think, again, more of this blocking? Obviously, I assume whether it's been fine, I haven't seen any replays. It should be okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen any replays, but what I get the gist of is Alonso. He's a master of the mind games in Formula One. He knows what to say and how to say it to anyone. It's his first time he hasn't qualified in qualifying 3 this season, so he's had a consistent season himself. But no, I just think it's a bit of mind games. I don't think nothing's going to happen. I just think it's Alonso trying to get into qualifying 3 with any help if necessary.
Yeah, I mean, he is a bit of a, as you said, master of the mind games, but he also can sulk a little bit when it doesn't go his way. Maybe the wrong time to take it out on someone like Sainz, but it is what it is. F1, no one's your friend.
No
one's your friend. When it comes to the race, no one is your friend.
Why is Hamilton trending?
When's Hamilton not trending?
Why is that something happened though? Did anything happen?
Either they're moaning at Hamilton taking a mick, or it's the Hamilton super fans that are going at the people for last week for moaning about George Russell.
But at the moment, I'm watching Formula 1 still. They're just interviewing the Ferrari technical director, so nothing's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So obviously the final 10 places were Lance Stroll in 10th place, Yuki Tsunoda in 9th place, Lando Norris 8th place, Pierre Gasly in 7th, Lewis Hamilton 6th, Bottas in 5th, Sergio Perez finishing in 4th.
What was the difference between Bottas and Hamilton lap time?
0.2 of a second, or just under 0.2 of a second. Third, Max Verstappen with 1:28.9, also in a 1:28.9, Carlos Sainz, and then with a 1:28.7 was Charles Leclerc. Sadiq, I'll come to you first of all with Hamilton, obviously 6th place. That decent enough for what the car's doing at the moment? 6th place.
5th would have been nice. But 6th not a bad result for us. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm used to winning. So it kind of hurts seeing this. I think what was worse, maybe McLaren 2009. I think that one was difficult. 2010, 2012, a couple wins here and there. Carl was challenging with Lewis Hamilton, but this one just feels weird, man. Seeing him win every year, nearly, except for Rosberg, of course. But yeah, I mean. It just feels weird, bro, and I hope it's not his final year. Honestly, I really hope.
I mean, he did come out and make some quotes.
That he's going to be here for a while, like Ronaldo.
Yeah. So I mean, he does seem. I think. I don't think I think he won't give up on that 8th title. I think why it's so horrible for us is because we forever remember that night in Abu Dhabi, and.
Why are you smiling?
Because I know how sore it is for your Mercedes. Because if I was on the same boat and that happened to me, I'll be the same. I'll get angry and I'll be like aggravated as well. So I can feel the pain, but it makes me laugh is because finally I'm watching Mercedes fans understand what it's like past McLaren. Because as soon as Hamilton went over, it's like, yeah, Mercedes have got it now. They've got the kingpin. McLaren, they all went down, and we did. We went downwards. It's like, oh, everything's going to be all right now. And now you're on level with us, really. It just made a bit by us, but you're about there. So it's a bit of pleasure for me in a bit, seeing the suffering.
I mean, it's not just that. If we were just suffering normally, I think it would be fine. But it's just knowing what happened in Abu Dhabi and knowing if Hamilton does go without winning that 8th world title, that's gonna hurt, and no one. I don't think anyone's gonna forget that race. I think arguably it's one of the most memorable races
controversial
in
races.
F1 in F1 history. I don't think anything's gonna beat it, really, apart from Schumacher, Senna, Prost. If you're going back into very old days,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. I think Wayne, as a Hamilton neutral ish, 6th place. You think that's good enough for good job for Hamilton, or do you think he could have done better?
They could have done a lot better. I think Mercedes could have easily been that top 4. I think they really have dropped the ball. It's the same as McLaren. I think McLaren dropped the ball. But I just don't know. I think we talked like we said before. I think it's still going to be 8 days. I think qualifying is one thing, but the race, I think it's going to chuck a lot of things up in the air. And I think Hamilton might actually win it. So I'll be a bold choice now. It's like Hamilton might actually win it.
I like this one.
Stop.
I'm liking this one, Wayne.
Stop. No, I can't tolerate that. I can't tolerate that.
I'm going to be nipping. I need to be nipping.
We don't want nipping around on here.
But I mean, I do disagree with Wayne a little bit. I think obviously we were doing very well in practice, but when you look at the practice times, we were getting the similar times that we were now. And I wonder whether if that's just the most we could get out of both McLaren and Mercedes. And obviously you've seen almost the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, like kind of how Mercedes used to do back in the day. They in qualifying they go up another 5 tenths and they completely pull away from you. So I do think that was kind of the 29.5, 29.4, maybe a 29.3 if you can really pull it in perfect, was probably the limit for them our cars. And then obviously I couldn't see Hamilton get the 28 nowhere near that, which would have put him 3rd, 4th. I'd like him to be ahead of Bottas because that's probably the thing going on Twitter. It's all the Bottas fans going, "Oh, Bottas has moved to another team and now he's above Hamilton." Blah blah blah. Yeah, but he's got no world championships, have he? So it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I don't think Hamilton will quite win the race, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Hamilton podium.
Yeah, podium probably will be more reliable, accurate. So we'll see what happens. Guys, I got to head out, unfortunately. Thanks for having me on the Matt and Wayne show. Appreciate it. Hopefully do more content soon. Maybe a review after the race or something. We shall see.
Okay.
I'll see you guys soon, man. Wayne, you're funny, man. See you guys soon.
Big up Sadiq. Big up Sadiq.
Peace.
Anyway, Wayne, so obviously it would have been better for Bottas, for Hamilton to be a better Bottas, but I do think there's going to be incidents in the race. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
There's a turn 12, 13, 14 and 15, and then obviously 16 for the main straight. to the going to the last corner. I think that will be the instant area. But there's been a lot of instances there already with Sainz, Ocon, and then you've got the other section with Bottas has his accident as well. So there's a few corners there. I think there will be overtaking. We pointing at the other area. I do think it will be overtaking, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's all a new experience. But I'm just loving it. I think if you know, I don't know how many you watched because obviously I don't know if you watched it live or not. But there's loads of celebrities there. There's loads of if you look at the atmosphere, it's something I would love to go to. It's the atmosphere that seems really good, especially for America as well. Because let's be honest, Formula One, you've got NASCAR, you've got other sports there that are more popular, but it's like F1 has just gripped America and gripped Miami, and I'm just buzzing. I've got this real good feeling about this Grand Prix. But I was wanting to ask you a question now, Matt.
That's fine. Go ahead. Fire away.
We're talking about this season. If you can give me the team, the driver that has surprised you the most this season so far, and the driver has let you down the most.
Surprised me the most. Oof. I'm going to go with a basic answer. I'd say Charles Leclerc. I think of how dominant he's been and how well he's taken on Verstappen. I know back in the F2 days, Leclerc was always kind of on top of Verstappen back then. So it isn't completely unknown. But obviously F2 to F1, that's like in going back into football terms, it's like going from Championship to Premier League. It's a big jump, as Mitrovic knows. Great in the Championship, gets the Premier League, not so great. Sometimes good, sometimes shit. But yeah, I would say Leclerc, how dominant he's been, how good he's been in that Ferrari, is a bit of a basic answer. But I don't think there's anyone really in the mid pack that have in selective races have surprised me. But overall, because it's been very chop and change, there's no one that's really stood out in the mid pack. Specific races, obviously Albon with getting 10th place from that, going basically a whole lap, a whole race near enough on one set of tyres. That's something fantastic. I think Guo Van Yu is he was unknown and obviously hasn't qualified too well, but in the races he's not been too bad. He's been quite a nice addition. Yuki Tsunoda, I think he's doing how I expect him to do this season. I think he's improved. He's matured a little bit in his second season. But I always saw that he's a decent driver. So again, it's not a big surprise to me. In terms of the person to let me down, obviously Mercedes in general are letting me down, but I'm not going to pick them because I think it's more of just the car. I'm actually going to go as your boy, Daniel Ricciardo. I think he's been... And I would say, again, maybe a Sebastian Vettel, but obviously it's understandable with him missing the first two races that he's going to be far behind. So I'll give him a little bit of a break for that. I'll say Daniel Ricciardo. Now I'm going to flip the question to you. What's your two?
Mine, the driver, it's actually Valtteri Bottas, because I don't know how he's getting. I didn't
want to praise him. That's why I didn't say it.
I know, but for driving Alfa Romeo, where yes, they've got a Ferrari engine in them, but he's literally consistently. I think he's only missed the top 10 once, and he's consistently up there. And he's not just like he's up there. He's qualified 5th. He does do really well with that car, and in the race pace, it sometimes doesn't always there, but majority of the time it is. So he's doing really well for me. And the other one I probably is Kevin Magnussen. What he's just comes in and he's hit it off. He's doing really well, and it's really good to see. But the driver, obviously Daniel Ricciardo, is easily one of them. But the other one for me as well is Pierre Gasly. I thought he would have stepped up again because he has been, and this season I can't remember him once challenging up there. And
He's put an occasional good laps in qualifying, but he's never really stuck consistently.
But the thing is, the thing with Pierre Gasly, I always have rated him, but he went to Red Bull too soon and become, I think it was Max Verstappen's second driver, and he got overshone, and he went backwards again, like a few drivers have done that before, and he's become a leader, and he's done really well in AlphaTauri, and some of the stuff he's done for him has been brilliant. I think he could easily move to a bigger team. I think he's a good driver. But if he carries on what he's doing this season, who's going to pick him up?
Yeah, I think he's got to be on it to keep his seat. Because obviously he's had one incident where he's already fouled at a Formula One team, so he can't foul it too many. Especially as we said, there's a number of young F2 drivers that are chomping a bit to,
especially at Red Bull,
especially
at Red Bull Academy wise.
Yeah,
because they've got a lot coming up. They've got Joey Vips, Dennis Hauger, Marcus Armstrong. There's a few on the Red Bull Academy that are coming up that are looking really sharp and really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously other people that have moved to other motorsports that haven't had an opportunity in F1, but they'd love to. I think obviously would drop anything to get into F1 because obviously it is the one to be in, obviously. So I think Gasly's got to watch out. Unfortunately, he's not like one of these drivers like Stroll that can rely on daddy's money. So it is a bit unfortunate because I would still say I'd rather Gasly than a Stroll. I'd rather Gasly
100%.
than a Latifi or someone like that. But it is what
Look at Latifi. To this whole weekend, he's been so off the pace, and they even said for him to qualify just behind Albon was a big plus for him. He's second from last. The only reason why he weren't last is because Ocon didn't race.
Yeah,
and they're saying that is bad.
I think it's more because every time last few races he's just been crashing. So the finish in general for him will just be a little bit of hopefully a confidence booster. But we'll see how Latifi does in the rest of the season. Hopefully he can improve on his form and try and support Albon because I think Albon has done okay. I think that Williams car again, unfortunately, is just very crap. And I think the day that Williams can climb up a little bit will be the day most Formula One fans will rejoice because it's such a historic team, as we all know.
If it's true what you've heard, and one of the big names might be coming over and could invest, I think that would be a big help. Obviously, I don't want to mention names yet because I don't know if it's true or not. But if it's true,
you can mention it. I'm sure we're not going to get done for mentioning it.
Obviously, we have Audi and Porsche coming into Formula One, and what I've got the gist of is Porsche could be teaming with Red Bull to do the engines for Red Bull and AlphaTauri, and then Audi is going to look into taking over one of the teams of Williams, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, and they're supposed to be linked to go there and put some money in, and obviously I don't know if their engine will be used, but obviously putting money in there, if that'd be the case. They was linked to go to McLaren, but McLaren said no, we're staying with Mercedes, we're happy here, we don't want any help in the money. I think McLaren don't need it anyway because they've got motorsport all around the world, different motorsports, and they're doing really well. So I don't think we need that sort of money investment at the moment. But yeah, it's a lot of changes and that. Like I'm going to ask you a question, obviously, before we do finish off the stream, because it's nice to finally get the stream up and running again because we've been fighting it for a while.
Yeah.
But next season, if you can choose now would there be any big changes for driver lineup next season? What you like to see?
Oh, this is a tough one. I mean, I would, as I do love the drive, I would personally like to see Callum Ilott in any seat. Um, if I was to choose a seat, uh, it's hard because it's hard to. I mean, maybe obviously my dream would be to replace Stroll, but you're never gonna. You know, being realistic, he's not gonna go. Maybe he could take a place at Williams, but I don't want him to be one of them drivers that go to Williams and then struggle because the car's rubbish and then doesn't hit on from there. Maybe Pimpin. I mean, if Daniel Ricciardo doesn't do well, you never know. Uh, but yeah, I think that would be one change that I'd like to see. Outside of that, I don't know because it's hard. I mean, you kind of got most of the prospect drivers, the up and coming, and not the Russ in terms of the right now the Russells and Norrises in bigger teams. Obviously, I will class McLaren as a bigger team, just for your benefit. Maybe Norris. Maybe Norris can get a move somewhere. I don't know where he'd go, but
See, for me, if Science don't, I know he's just signed a contract, but if Science don't improve, I could see Cam Ilott going there. I could easily
yes,
see him doing that.
but I think Ferrari obviously I imagine the contract is fairly large sum, so I think it'd be a very expensive mistake for them to make. So I think they will. Sometimes it does happen when you sign a new contract, you go off the ball for a little bit. So I'm sure I think Sainz will come back, and he didn't do too bad today. I thought he'd done well today.
It did.
Obviously, second place, and it wasn't too far off Leclerc. It was only a couple tenths.
And with
So
that crash as well, this
yeah,
must have knocked him about a bit.
so he's there or
But
thereabouts. He's done all right today.
see, like I've mentioned Patty O'Ward, I would love to see him over because I think just for the sake of, I think that'd be a great lineup. But there's other drivers that I think next year should be involved. I think Oscar Piastri,
Mm-hmm.
I think he deserves a seat. He's Alpine's test driver, reserve driver, and he deserves to be in. But the thing is Alonso is one of those overstayers that he's still doing brilliant at his age and what he's doing for Alpine. And Ocon, I think he just signed a new contract himself. So
I don't.
it's
I think Ocon's always a. I know he obviously didn't get involved today, but he's not had a bad season. He's steady. So I think they'll stick with Ocon as well as the thing. But it is what it is. We'll see how drivers' lineups change at the end of the season. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on that and seeing if anyone goes because I think all the big kind of drivers are almost locked in at the moment. So it's going to be hard to see where people go and what big changes are made. I think it'll be mainly smaller changes at the end of the season, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Miami is a new track, and we haven't seen much of it at all. I mean, what I'll kind of do is we'll share the screen and have a look at the track itself, if F1 allows us to look at their website. But we'll have a go at this. Shh. I'm sure it'll be fine. Big up to the F1 website. It has a lot of information, so make sure you guys check it out. Let's
Ted
share.
Kravitz is having some fun here on the elevator.
Oh, Ted Kravitz is amazing. So, obviously, this is the wonderful track of Miami. Obviously, going into the first sector, a lot of nice little corners. Corners that if you get wrong, you're going to mess up the next two or three, which I always think is interesting on a track. Sector 2, first start of it is a nice little straight, well, fairly straight. I mean, 9 and 10 you kind of go near enough flat out on, so it's an opportunity. Obviously, the only thing I don't like about Sector 2 is the straight is a bit narrow, so it's hard to overtake on. And a nice little slow section going into 11 to 16. And a nice big DRS zone, which I think Wayne, do you think this is the area, Sector 3, where the most of the overtakes are going to start happening?
I think that'd be where the most overtakes will happen, and maybe down the straight. But I think there could be some overtakes there, but it's going to be some brave driving to get them on the before the section 11, corner 11. But I think my personal opinion, and this, so I've said this so many times, I'll say it again, I love this circuit, but the section 2, I think, is 1, 2, 3, the 4, 5, 6 area. That is a really tough corners to navigate, and you can see Russell today and other drivers struggling. Verstappen as well was struggling there. That is a really testing flat out circuit where you've got to hit the apex straight on. And the corner 11 and 16 for me is brilliant. I love the slow corners and the effects it's done to and how tricky it is just on slow corners, and the cars are losing it, and they're losing the back of the car so many times. And I really do like it. This circuit, I prefer it to Azerbaijan.
Oh, I really like Azerbaijan, so I'm going to disagree with you for now. I want to see more to say whether it's better than Azerbaijan. I do like Azerbaijan, so I will rebuke you on that for now. But I do think it's interesting that they have got 1, 2, 3 DRS zones. Do you think that's done because they know that overtaking may be a bit more difficult, so they're trying to maximise it as much as possible?
Yeah, it could be. I think they've done the right thing by putting 3 in. I think they've tried to be fair. It's slow corners as well, so you're going to be following each other. So yeah, it's I think they've done the right thing to make it more interesting. Otherwise, you're just going to be like following each other and it's not going to be that interesting. So
yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. Do you think what corners do you think is there going to be any corners you think that it could be a bit of a surprise where we may start to see more overtakes than we thought? If there is one corner, what would you pick?
I'll probably pick let me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The corner between 9 and 11, that area. I do think there'd be quite a few overtakes. Would be surprised.
Mm-hmm. I actually think going into obviously you go into 11, and it's that tight chicane that a few people have been struggling with, and it goes round into 12, 13. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few lunges into turn 14, 15. And I do think we are going to see an incident also there where someone does take a lunge and may go.
Red flags.
Yeah, I think that would cause a red flag. Either someone's going in the wall or someone's going into each other. But it'd be interesting to see. I think it's a track that's got potential. I do like going around the stadium. I'm not going to guess what stadium it is. It's Miami Dolphins or Heat.
Dolphins.
I don't know my American sports, so I'm not even going to.
Miami Dolphins, mate.
Miami Dolphins, right? It is a nice stadium to look around and go around. I do like that aspect of it. Although I do find it funny how it's basically in the Miami Dolphins car park. That is a bit funny. But it is what it is. I do think it's a track that has a lot of potential. I just hope it doesn't become one of them almost boring tracks, if you get what I mean. We have enough circuits that don't provide too much overtaking. But we'll wait and see. Honestly, if someone said to me, would you get rid of it? I said, I don't care how historic it is, I would.
It's hard. I agree with you. I mean, in the same point, I do agree with you, but in the same thing,
last 2 years I haven't watched the race because it's what is that race
qualifying. You know who's going to win it after qualifying.
You know who's won it. And if there's a bit of if there's any football on that's a big match, usually there has been. I'm usually
won't be this year.
Won't be this year because it's a bit too late. But so I'm going to be sitting there twiddling my thumbs. We're definitely not going to do a Monaco watch along.
Yes, we're going to be doing something on for Monaco, so you better watch it.
Yes, but we're not going to do. We're definitely not doing a watch along. I don't think there'll be any views for a watch along.
We need to we'll cast a vote on Instagram or Twitter or something for a race watch along what you would like us to do one for. And we'll do it. Maybe British Grand Prix, maybe something like that. But
Yeah,
we'll
I
have
think
a little.
it would be a good one.
I think we'll do a little thing and see if we can get together all the guys to see if we can do one. And it'd be good. And obviously, me and Matt, me and Matt are going to be fully behind this channel, doing as much as we can. Steve will be there with us. It's
KJ when he's not crying about Max not finishing first.
KJ, and then there's Nick as well, Nick Toll.
Yeah, Nick. I think obviously he's Australian time zone area, so obviously right now is not the best time for him to watch a bit of Formula One.
No.
Maybe for the stuff like the Japanese Grand Prix, he can take control of a watch along, and we can get it sorted with him. But it is what it is. Obviously, KJ ducking it once again. So to let you guys know, I have sent him the link, but obviously he's not happy that the Humera champion hasn't got another pole, and he knows that he's going to get beaten again in this Formula One championship by Charles Leclerc, just like the F2 days. But it is what it is. I'm sure KJ will be back. He'll crawl out of the cave once Verstappen gets a result, potentially tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned. We will go live after the race, probably straight after, maybe 10-15 minutes after. So make sure, as soon as the race is finished, make sure you go search this channel and have a look to see where we are. Make sure you subscribe, smash the bell notification so you never miss our videos. Thank you for everyone that has tuned in today and anyone that tunes in after this live. This is the first video of this channel. We will look to improve. We will look to grow forward. Make sure you put your comments in the comment section, and we'll be communicating. We'll be talking to you. We'll be getting you guys involved and really working to grow this channel. We're a Formula One channel for the fans, by the fans. So hopefully we can help you all through these wonderful F1 seasons, and we can have a bit of fun. Wayne, thank you for coming on as the wonderful co-host.
Thank you as well, Matt, for being the host.
No worries. Guys, make sure you, once again, smash the like button, like, subscribe. This is Matt and Wayne. This is Worldwide F1, and we're out.